What's up, everybody? It's the Hardy Construction. You can find us at hardyconstruction.tumblr.com, youtube.com/hardyconstruction, as well as facebook.com/the Hardy Construction with your host, Comp, and
Tit Window.
And today we're reviewing
The Walking Dead, Season 6, the second half of the season.
The Queefing Dead, yes. These are the first 4 episodes of the second half of Season 6, because you know what? AMC likes money. We are covering No Way Out, The Next World, Knots Untie, and Not Tomorrow Yet. All 4 episodes have been running in succession, leading up to, I'm sure, a very spectacular season finale in episode 16, which is a shy 4 episodes away from us, so it is an 8-episode...
A lot can happen in 4 or 5 episodes.
An 8-episode half season, yeah. So I guess with the... What is it, 16 episodes they do for a year that they space out between the full year?
I don't know if they always do that many. I feel like they're doing more than normal this time.
So the money that they put into Fear of the Walking Dead, they could have just put into this show for more episodes, you think? But I guess they just don't care.
Whatever. Fear of the Walking Dead's good.
Nah. So anyway, so this episode that just came on right now, let's actually just quickly run through the first 3 episodes of this the second half of the season, No Way Out, The Next World, and Knots Untie. We've been following the characters like Daryl, Abraham, Sasha, Rick, Larry, Jeffrey.
Do you think
Pee-wee.
Sasha is actually Sacha Baron Cohen?
Yes.
Like,
very
this is
timely
like a big
reference
skit.
because of that movie coming out, right? Hilarious. That joke will make
I
sense
know.
in another year. So Rick
I'm a
Grimes,
comedy
Daryl,
genius.
Rick, Daryl, Glenn, Maggie, Carl, Michonne. What has been happening since that second half opening? What actually happens in that first episode?
Well, the first half was like all about leading a giant horde of zombies that were like in some ditch, basically, out of town, and then the wolves attacked, fucked it all up, and the whole town was under attack in Alexandria, and they had to take back the town. That was basically the first half of season 6, and this is like, and the last shot is basically like Negan's biker dudes like confronting Abraham, Sasha, and Daryl.
Yeah, that was the post-credit sequence. The actual ending of the episode had the townspeople of Alexandria slowly trying to make their way out. Well, at least Rick, his pseudo-girlfriend, and her 2 sons, as well as Carl and Michonne, trying to slowly walk out of a horde of zombies that have come in, because was that the part because I think a building had collapsed and destroyed a gate, so all the zombies got in, or is that just I think some collapsed.
Didn't the truck like bash into it and make a doorway for them or something?
Oh, I thought that was another.
It was chaotic. It doesn't matter.
Nuts, crazy shit happened. Anyway,
Zombies got it.
In the No Way Out episode, as Daryl, Abraham, and Sasha are driving back to Alexandria, this is what happens in the post-credit sequence. So this is the first episode of the second half, which is episode 9. It starts out with what do they call the Saviors?
The Saviors,
it sounds like some sort of shitty gang that should fight the Jets and the Sharks, like from the 50s. But I guess when you do see Negan, I'm sure that's gonna fit in, because Negan sort of in the comic book. We'll have mild spoilers for the comic because I know that they don't.
Well, honestly, it's a little out of my range almost. It's like right.
Yeah,
about
it is. I mean, you're about to catch up to the comic book because you read up to issue 100, I believe, is where the thing that happens. So we won't spoil that.
Yeah.
I'm going to actually be light on the spoilers from the comic book because there are some mild differences, but it seems to be sort of close to what's happening in the book. Not necessarily completely close, but there are things that actually happen. I was like, okay, they kept what they were going to do. But anyway, the Saviors are, if you've read the comic, the Saviors are a group of guys led by a dude named Negan. In the comic book, he sort of looks basically like Superman, but in a 1950s kind of outfit, and he curses up a storm.
Now he looks exactly like the guy that plays the comedian in Watchmen now.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan. And in the comic book, he curses up a storm. Like, I mean, every word is either fuck, cunt, shit. Like, they can say shit in the show, but they never say fuck or cunt. Yeah, there you go. Asshole, I think asshole's been said like for the longest time, actually, since like the 90s, I think. Sparingly. But with this show,
Carlin is so happy right now.
With this show, they make the amazing choices in self-censoring, like when Rick had said they're screwing with the wrong people, and I was like, oh boy, because in the comic book he obviously says they're fucking with the wrong people, but AMC was so afraid. You know, it's fine watching people's heads explode and killing humans.
Oh yeah,
and
no, gore and violence.
the most grotesque
that's
gore
all
and
fine.
violence, but they couldn't say the
Sex,
word
though,
fucking.
and cursing. No, we can't have that.
There's a show called American Crime Story, the sort of quasi spin-off of American Horror Story about O.J. Simpson, and they said motherfucker like twice on that show. And I'm not kidding. I was watching it.
Well, how much of a space was there between the word mother, the word pho,
She
and
says,
cur?
it was Marsha Clark, the one that prosecuted OJ. She was like, motherfucker, and then she walks for 10 minutes and says, cur. That's how they did it. No,
Yeah,
but she actually
maybe she was talking about pho as in the food, like PHO.
she actually does say motherfucker at the end of one of the episodes, and I was like, wow, they let it on TV. That's cool. You know what I mean? Because like,
Yeah.
it's basic cable, but that show is fairly like serious. It's actually a well done show, and I actually. You know how it ends.
Is it one of these cop shows? We should talk about Walking Dead, actually.
Right, but I'm just saying that they're gonna cut everything that Negan says out. Apparently, they're shooting 2 versions of the show. So there's this joke online that when Negan comes out, he's gonna be like screw, screw, screw. He's just gonna say the word screw instead of fuck every, or he's gonna imagine they decide to change him into British because you know how you can use British curse words here because they don't mean anything, just like the word fuck doesn't mean anything in England.
Like
so he's
bloody.
I don't think bloody's so bad, but he's gonna be like minge and anyway. So at the beginning of the episode, the Saviors are having a penis measuring contest, and they're basically telling Abraham, Daryl, and Sash that all their stuff belongs to Negan. And it's so fucking, it's just like, oh, please. I thought these characters were going to be there for a while. I had a theory that they were going to just take Daryl and Abraham and Sasha and
I was
ransom
not
off.
expecting it to go the way it went.
I was very pleasantly surprised at what happened, that they all got blown to smithereens in one of the worst special effects ever, but still satisfying.
I don't think it was that bad. I thought it was fine.
I love that. You just hear that was it an RPG or I don't know what the hell kind of
It was a bazooka.
Was it a bazooka? Okay, so
Yeah.
Daryl comes out from behind it. Yeah, it was an RPG. So fuck you. Daryl comes out from behind the truck. Like I know the difference between an RPG and a bazooka because to me it
It's
seems
like,
like
what are
they
you
both do
talking
this.
about? Do you actually know the difference?
I'm reading off the wiki. It says Daryl comes out from behind the truck holding an RPG, having subdued and killed the biker
Must be true.
who went to check cargo with them. So they blow them up. So, people had theories online. There was a photo that there was a car in the distance and maybe somebody saw this, but I think that was just probably a fuck up on production. Anyway.
Yeah, I saw a lot of stuff about the person watching in the background. I didn't read it because it's like, I don't want to know what they think.
Yeah, that was probably, I'm sure the people in the production saw that and go, yeah, sure. And it wasn't like a guy delivering Domino's pizza over there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
right.
so the ending of the episode has it's one of the best edited sequences I've ever seen. It's basically Rick goes hard as a motherfucker, as they say, on people, on the zombies, because his girlfriend, who is his girlfriend? Jessie Anderson.
The hot blonde chick.
Yeah, the hot chick. She was also from American Horror Story in the first season
The first season, but I still never seen that.
she dresses up as a maid and she's bending over, so you just see underwear shots and vulva
She is
protrusions.
incredibly hot.
Yeah, it was so funny because she's a decent actor, but in the first season of American Horror Story, it's just like she's just there for tits and ass, and you're like, wow, you're like a bravo. This is
If I
great.
was her kid, though, I would be like always wanting to breastfeed still.
It's so funny because you're a freak. So the funny thing is that the son, the kid who's mentally ill, which one was he? Was he Sam, the mentally ill kid?
Yeah, the little one. He's not
In-
mentally
in it-
ill. He's legitimately traumatized. Could you imagine?
Inadvertently, Carol killed this kid because she scared him so bad once. Because Sam had once caught her rifling through stuff earlier in the season. I don't know whether if it was the ending of the 5th season or it might have been the beginning of the 6th season. Actually, he caught her rifling through stuff, and he was like, "What's going on here?" And she scared the shit out of him.
Traumatized him.
Yeah, she basically told him,
that
you know,
zombies would kill him.
yeah, and eat him alive and stuff like that. So then he has PTSD from an argument he had with her, and he fucks up, freaks out, and the zombies start eating him. So they do show children getting eaten alive on the show, which is pretty cool, and it leads to a sequence from the comic, which I'm glad that they actually kept.
When they chop off her hand. Yeah, I love that.
And not that part, but when the other son, who is what was his name? Starts with an R, right? I'm blanking out on his name.
I don't have it.
There's
in front
Sam
of me.
Anderson, Ron Anderson. Ron is the brother, the older brother, who's always had it in for Rick because Rick had killed his father, so he wanted
Is
to kill.
that character like a big character in the comic too? I don't remember.
You and I read the same issue, so I guess I.
No, I know, but it's been like over a year. Like I don't remember.
I don't know. I don't remember. I assume what he did to what he does. I think what he does to. I'm not even sure that's
Pete.
what happened in the comic.
He kills Pete in the comic. I do remember he kills Pete in the comic. I believe.
Okay, but no. I don't remember if Ron had shot. What's his face in the eye like he did in the comic
Carl?
book.
No, I don't think Carl loses his eye that way. He loses it.
Yeah, I think Carl got into an accident during that whole melee.
These
though.
comics, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good comic. It's worth watching. I mean, worth reading. But he does get his eye shot out. But apparently, getting his eye, they didn't shoot his bad acting out because he's still a bad actor. To me, I think
he's not that bad.
I don't know what you're doing. I think you have like a fruity tendencies towards that actor because there's no way that kid's not good.
He's gotten a lot. He's gotten significantly.
I'm getting. You say significantly better. I'm getting significantly more disgusted with his acting for some reason. I can't stand it. I'm sure he's a nice kid, but it's just like he's kind of wooden. He's like there's the episode before when like he's talking to her. I wish like they had killed him and then Ron became his son.
Right, he adopts him and he dresses him up in a Carl outfit.
I guess kind of the he has to wear the hat inside out and upside down. He's like negative Carl.
He's
or
like
something.
He's like the doppelganger Carl.
Like you know how there's a Darkwing Duck and Negaduck. He's like the opposite. But anyway, Ron shoots him in the eye. His eyes shot out. And it does lead to a tense sort of ending where Rick thinks he's been doing all this trying to save or make the world safe for Carl. You know what I mean? But, eventually he thinks he's lost it. So the doctor woman takes him in. Also, by the way, the doctor lady had been held hostage by one of the wolves.
Because of Morgan making a stupid call.
Morgan, why Morgan? When I found out he had karate powers,
Morgan was right though. I mean, that guy was good.
He did change. He changed him a little bit.
I kind of wish they hadn't killed the guy off. I wish they would have kept him.
For some reason, that guy reminded me of that. What's his name? David Navarro from like Red Hot Chili Peppers. He looks exactly like David Navarro. So I'm expecting him to like whip out a guitar and start like eating vagina everywhere. But and then making out with Anthony Kiedis at the end of a video. But yeah, that whole sequence happened because you want to punch. What's his face right through the screen because he's such an idiot for. No. The guy.
Ron?
We just said his name. No.
Morgan.
This guy
Morgan,
yeah. Right? Morgan.
Yeah,
is
Morgan's very annoying. Yeah, I wanna hit him in the head with his.
Just in the latest episode, Morgan is like, "We can talk to these people." It's like, shut the fuck
it's like,
up.
Is he gonna now? Does he go and like tell Negan or something like, oh, we shouldn't? That's what's gonna happen. He's
basically a contrarian now. He's a contrarian character.
He's the new the priest guy. He's like the new priest guy.
Gabriel, I'll get to what happened because Gabriel just moved up so many notches in this final episode.
Gabriel,
I'll say why, but anyway. So it all leads to the Doctor Girl. I'm sorry, I can't remember the Doctor Girl's name. We'll just call her Doctor Girl. She's girlfriends with the gay character. I forget her name, which is funny. Alana Masterson is Tara. She dates Tara.
Yeah.
Tara. And funny thing is, if you don't know,
there's so many characters. It's so hard to keep track.
Right.
Of
Tara grows spectacularly in size within this latest episode, and I'll get to that. It's pretty funny. Why?
Her heart grows 3 sizes.
It's not that. It's her belly, but we'll get to why that is. So it ends with the doctor girlfriend getting released. The wolf guy, I guess, had to change her heart and actually let her survive, and then he gets eaten, and he's blown away by, I think, Carol at the end.
They should have kept him.
And, he's... I really didn't give 2 shits about that character anyway.
The wolves aren't in the comics, as far as I know.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think they're doing some whole other thing right now. But there also is Abraham and his melodrama. I don't really give a shit. I really don't care about Abraham in the show.
Yeah, Abraham gets once his once you realize that he's not going to Washington D.C., he becomes just kind of like this side character that you don't care about anymore.
Abraham,
I like him when you think he's on a mission, though.
Yeah, Abraham has this kind of phony stoicism. Like he's trying to, you know how Rick sometimes has that, like he's quiet. That seems like what Abraham's doing, but we already have Rick for it, so who cares? You know what I mean? Like Abraham,
right.
they
we
really
don't need 2 quiet, thoughtful characters.
For some reason, and I have no problem with Abraham. He's a good actor, but they're really pushing for you to care about his character. But I don't care about his character. In the comic book, I like this character. and there's something big that happens in the comic with him, but I'm not going to talk about that in here. And in the show, I'm just waiting for it to happen already.
They've hinted at it in the show already. So.
No, not at all. No. You don't remember. Obviously, you must have. You must have completely forgot what happens in the comic. But yeah, it hasn't happened in the show yet. I assume it's going to happen in the show because he's having a lot of like personal stuff in the show. Like they're focusing a lot on him.
Abraham, work it out. You're named after a guy who almost killed his own son for God.
Yes, like, exactly. And he did it to prove to God that he cared about him because God was like, "Don't you like me? Don't you like me over your son? I mean, come on, guys." Anyway,
and he almost did it.
He did. I remember the funny Family Guy joke about it. Like they just show Abraham and his son walking down like from the mountains, and he's like, "Dad, what was that back there? What were you doing?" Like he's pissed at his dad. But anyway, so that leads to a big finale where Rick goes bonkers with his crew, and it leads to, I'm sure it was fun in the editing room. With them just killing zombies, like an insane amount of zombies.
It was like a fucking melee. It was pretty fun, actually.
It was pretty cool. It was actually one of the best things that they've ever done. And it was good. So that leads to the following episode, which was The Next World, which introduces a pretty interesting character from the comic book. Rick and Daryl go on a run where they meet Jesus, a mysterious man with many secrets. Michonne follows Spencer as he tries to find his mother. Carl and Enid have a strange interaction in the woods. So, the sides. Let's get rid of the side story.
Jesus could help Abraham.
Of course, the sides. Yeah, that's right. Jesus. Imagine Jesus comes out to the side and Jesus says, "Hey, you know my dad? You know, if you bring your son," and then Abraham's like, "My son's dead already." He goes, "Oh well." Whoops.
And then we get Jesus, Abraham, and Gabriel, the priest, and they're like the Holy Trinity, and they call themselves that as they kill zombies, and they're like back. No,
you know what's funny? They come together, and you see a golden light come around them, and then they just like ascend into heaven.
They just spin around, and it chops down anyone in their path.
No, before they actually help anybody, the three of them just stand there and they ascend to heaven. They just don't even help anybody. Everybody's left on like, oh shit, you know what I mean? We should have went to church. But anyway, The Next World, let's get rid of the side story, which is Carl and Enid in the woods, and Carl is having his emo moments with Enid, and he's like...
Enid is so emo, my god.
Yeah, she really is emo, because she's talking about how her family died, and Carl's crying.
What a baby, get over it. You saw your family get eaten in front of you. Big deal.
Don't care about that subplot. It was boring for me. What was it good for you?
I liked it, but it was, it's like one of those obvious like filler sort of side plots, but it wasn't bad.
Yeah, they could have
really hate Carl.
In the comic, he's great. In the show, I really can't stand like how there was a moment in that the second half season finale or the first half season finale where Carl is trying to be tough in front of Ron, and I was like, Ron could have just punched the air and he would have fell down because he's so like, he's like, you got to be sure to do it, and like that's Carl talking. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up, you pussy! Like, get out of here, you nerd. I just was sick of him. You know what I mean? He's like a person you want to bully. You want to bully him in the apocalypse. You know. So anyway,
we're going to disagree.
So the best part of this episode, obviously, is the introduction of Jesus, who is also in the comic. And when I first saw the actor who's playing Jesus, the guy's playing Jesus, is an incredibly handsome man. I mean, he looks like a model, even with his beard and his hair. He looks so illustrious and handsome, like he's on a runway.
His beard is like perfect. It's like
it is. I almost think it looks. I think it's all fake. Actually, I think maybe his facial hair might be phony or something like that.
No, he keeps that shit trimmed. Like he's not going to ever be like Rick, like all like gruff and dirty. Like he's like a stylish, apocalyptic person.
I'm sure we'll find out why. I know why he keeps his hair so trim and he's so well cut and clean. I know why. Trust me, I read the comic book. But in the show, I'm sure some people are going to blow their minds when they watch, especially a character named Jesus. But I'm sure I don't have to spell it out for you. In the comic book, he's much more masculine looking. Not to say he doesn't look masculine in the show. He just looks really like thin and sort of gaunt. But he plays it off well. He's actually, as soon as the way the actor who was playing it, I can't think of what's his name. Jesus, the actor playing.
He's great
him.
Though. I love his character. I don't know. I don't really remember him from the comics, to be honest.
I think he came on a little bit.
I know like what his role is, but
he certainly was more prominent after the issue, after like issue 100 that you're reading. I'm sure he came a little bit before that. But Jesus in the comic, he looks a lot taller. He looks a lot more masculine. Like he looks sort of like a Hun or something. You know, like just a huge dude with a beard and the man bun sort of haircut. And
right. So he's a hipster.
So I was a little bit concerned when they casted him because he looks a little thin and too pretty boyish. But he's actually a really engaging actor. The guy playing him, like there's a certain charm about him, and
yeah.
I mean, he's really
like,
good.
Basically, I think he's going to be replacing Daryl, basically.
You think so, right? I think so, too. Which is tough because there's people that just still like Daryl regardless. You know what I mean? They're just going to like Daryl.
I love Daryl. I don't want him to die, but at the
but
same
I think
time,
Daryl, like I say, Daryl sells video games and Daryl sells T-shirts. You can see the Walking Dead thing. There's like, he's doing the voiceovers for it. And I just saw some interview online on YouTube for DP30 with the actor who plays Daryl, and he's an interesting actor. He's like, I want to be with the show forever, you know, because he gets paid, you know, and he says he has fun, and
he probably has a great time. I mean, this thing made his career, so
pretty much. I mean, he had Boondock Saints, and then he just kind of jumped onto this, so he's doing pretty well. But anyway, they introduced Jesus' character. What do you think of Jesus' character in the show? What do you think?
I like
how
him
do you think
lot,
he fits in?
I mean, I feel like he is the key to like a whole other world, basically, and he even says that line, and like, yeah, so it's really cool to see like this new like superhero type of dude who's gonna like introduce them to like 10 other communities and shit. Like, it's pretty cool.
It's actually a pretty laid back, cool episode, The Next World, because it seems like, I mean, there is a genuine threat in the episode, but it seems more like a Warner Brothers Looney Tunes episode.
Yeah, it's funny. It's like a funny comedic relief.
Yeah, about as light as it can get for this material. So it's basically like Rick and Daryl's adventure, and then they're kind of having this. It's sort of Three Stooges in the apocalypse as they're dealing with.
And then we find out the big surprise at the very end too.
Yes, the very.
Which I thought was pretty
something
cool.
that Danny does not like. Oh, you said you liked it. Oh, okay. I'm not sure. I wasn't sure.
Shut up.
I thought you were like crying in the bathroom for an hour after.
No, I like it, but they don't do that in the comic, right?
No, they do not. In the comic book, actually, which makes me wonder... What?
It's Andrea in the comic, I believe.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, Rick ends up with Andrea in the comic, but you see how they fucked her character up so bad in the show. They decided to make her super stupid, and I don't know whose idea that was. I think that was from season 3, right? I think it was.
They made her so stupid. Oh,
they really fucked. I mean, they fucked up Andrea's character. I know they decided to change arcs and storylines and stuff in the show, but boy, did they fuck. I know,
but they made her like, she was the Kate from Lost of this show, basically. I wanted to jump in the screen, like smack her in the head the whole time.
They really fucked her up. I mean, badly. Basically, the way that, what happens to everybody else's new favorite character, who is,
Michonne?
Not Michonne. Carol. Carol is basically what Andrea is in the comic book. Like, she's a tough woman. She, you know... But she was sort of always tough in the comic book. Not Carol, but Andrea was. And Andrea was dating...
Andrea's like a badass sniper and all this shit.
Right, Andrea was dating that old fuck, but she never had sex with him in the show, and Dale, right? And Dale got killed off, and he was kind of wanting to stick his old horny flaccid
I understand that choice, because it's like, it is a little... Even though it's a movie show about zombies and shit, I mean, how much can you really suspend your disbelief that this, like, 30-year-old woman's going to be having sex with Dale, you know? It's kind of hard to imagine, but...
I wish they had actually showed it. I wish they showed it, like, with him sweating.
Like, hardcore?
Yeah, because you know when, like, old people's penises get big and flaccid with purple and stuff like that?
He's got, like, liver spots on his balls.
And you see him taking, like, 1,000-year-old Viagra.
He's got, like, a little miniature, like, Fisher hat on his balls, too, like... It's got like, you know, like the hooks in it and everything.
And he goes, whoo, whoo, here it comes, whoo, whoo, whoo. And then you see green slime coming out of his ears. Anyway, so the big deal is Michonne and Rick hook up. Oh, shit. Yeah. And they
kind of hinted at it a little bit.
I didn't even, you know, honestly, I didn't really think about it. I was like, okay, cool. It makes sense because she's sort of the alpha female. He's the alpha male of the group.
When she shows up at the cabin, when it's just Rick and Carl in that cabin... And then Michonne knocks on the door. It's like the end of season 5 or something. Remember?
Yeah. I guess they always did hint on it because I knew at the beginning of the episode when she comes out with the like in the towel over her hair and she's in that little bathrobe. I was like, this looks like a family.
Like, at the very least, they're like super close. But yeah.
Yeah. And plus, they're both
a stretch.
Plus, they're like both good-looking people, so come on, they're gonna just like.
Yeah.
And then I think they actually had to. They told the producers like they had them force that nude scene at the end where they're in the bed and like Andrew Lincoln's his hand is all over Danae's ass, like his hand's like literally on her ass. A huge big butt because like you could
She's
tell. She's
probably so uncomfortable around him now in real life. Like he probably wasn't even supposed to do that, but he was just taking advantage.
Andrew Lincoln, the actor, he's like, "Oh my, this is quite bulbous. This rump of this woman. I think I shall partake in grabbing it." And he just
she is super hot, actually.
You know, because you know how all the girls are dirty on the show, and they kind of ugly all the girls up.
She's grown on me, you know. Like at first, I wasn't attracted to her at all, but like when I see her more and more, I like she's definitely grown on me, like hotness wise.
Yeah, and so you just see that huge. Trust me, I'm a man who is Latin, and I've tasted many of the different ethnicities in the world. I can say that with a straight face. And a nice woman, a POC, which I am myself, is not bad, Danny. You should try it. Hopefully,
I'm a Jew. I don't count as white. I'm like some other thing.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you need to, try some flavors. Just be like, what's his name? The great Latin rapper, Big Pun, said, "I regulate every shade of that ass," and that is exactly what Andrew Lincoln did.
With poetry here he's got going on.
But anyway, yeah, that's I'm good. I'm good with them. In the comic books, these are mild spoilers since I don't know how they will even approach this because it would actually be weird. But Michonne has a relationship with this other character. This cool ass dude, I can't think of his name. He's sort of he's this black dude that owns a tiger, and he's got these white like dreadlocks and shit. He's like an older guy, and she gets into a relationship with him in the comic book. And so, but and meanwhile, Rick is still with
Rick
Andrea.
And her could break up, but I don't see why they would.
It could be possible, yeah. I mean, because they're gonna. I'm assuming they're gonna. I don't know if they might introduce that character. A guy walking around with a tiger might be a little bit too much for the show. But
they'd have to have a fucking tiger on set all the time. That would be a whole extra thing.
I really am afraid for them to do that. They'll probably turn it into a giant mastiff.
We saw what happened to those guys in Las Vegas, the two magicians. I can't think of their names, but they got killed by his own tiger. Like,
they didn't get killed, but yeah, that's I forget those two guys.
No, he did. He died from it, didn't he?
No, he had a stroke, and now he's all like he looks like a robot now. I forget his name, but anyway, yeah. Yeah, he has a type. I don't know what they're gonna do with that character. I'm sure they wouldn't put him in but that's like a whole different thing going on in the comic books now. They're fighting like a different faction of people, and they've dealt with Negan already. Yeah. Anyway, so Rick and Michonne happen. This leads to Jesus waking them up in repose, and Jesus says, "I'm going to make your world a lot larger for the episode Knots Untie." Jesus takes Rick and the group to the Hilltop Colony, a peaceful community overshadowed by the power of Negan and the Saviors. So, what happens in this episode? Who are we introduced to?
What's his name? Joseph? The jerk? The leader?
Absolutely not. That is not his name. Want to take another guess?
It starts with a J, am I right?
Nope.
Tell me. Just tell me. What is it?
I was killing time because I'm trying to look for the guy's name myself.
Okay, well, in any case, they go to this community... And this whole community, basically, they don't even have guns or anything. There's a bunch of spears and all this shit. And
it's Gregory, by the way.
Gregory. Oh, okay. Well,
yeah, starts with a J. You're right.
Gregory.
And
basically, they have to give half their food to these basically like bullies, Negan and his people.
Hey, watch that pronunciation, Danny. Please watch the pronunciation. Go ahead. Geez.
So, they have to give half their food and belongings to this guy, and in return, they will not be killed. So basically, these guys are like corrupt mafia people who...
Oh, corrupt mafia, as opposed to the good mafia.
The original mafia was to protect people.
That's true.
To protect them
the original mafia, they used to, like, hand out free Parmesan cheese. So Abraham flirts with Sasha, and it is basically Abraham wants to dump what's-her-face. In the episode before previous, he's like, you know what, I'm all about, I want what Rick has. Obviously, he was trying to do before Rick, so there you go. He was trying to get the race relations better. Right. And it's so funny because in that episode, Knots Untie, I always thought Rosita was cute. I was like, she's cute.
Rosita
and I remember, I know. I know. Rosita's always cute, and I remember when they first had Rosita, the first 2 episodes Rosita was in, you know how they were in that tank or whatever the fuck they were driving? It wasn't a tank, it was like a truck or something.
Yeah, it's a truck.
And she's out, and she's basically, in the comic book, she looked exactly how she looked in the comic book. She had like this white tank top and short shorts. And I'm watching the episode, and I was like, gee, like her breasts were humongous, and her ass is hanging out of the. I mean, it was like pornographic shots on her. I was like, wow, this is like. Even I wasn't like, it's so funny because everybody looks so dirty on that show. When somebody looks halfway good, you're like, God, man, you start perking up. You're like, this chick is. She's like, but it almost took away from the character. It was like, because it's like this girl isn't real. Like she's not here. So she must be like a mirage or something.
She's like a perfect
specimen
looking person.
So so of course I haven't been watching them. Of course there was that time when what's his face, Abraham was having sex with her, and Eugene was watching, jerking off. And
Eugene is such an asshole.
He is. He's much weirder in here than he is in the comic book, because in the comic book he's actually
I remember it being pretty strange in the comic too. Actually,
yeah, but in the comic he's not as like. He seems like he has some sort of something wrong with his mental faculties in the show. Like he's sort of bizarre.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say the A word because we usually say that so many times.
I know what you're.
Yes, exactly. And anyway, so the beginning of this episode, she's there and she's smoking hot, like.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, because Danny said she's hot. She's hot. She's hot. And I was like, yeah, yeah.
Like,
and then I saw her
and everything. Who am I? I'm ugly. I'm not like one to judge. But if I were Abraham,
Danny, don't say that. You're able to judge.
I would smack him in the head. What are you doing, man? Why would you want to cheat on this woman? She's perfect. It doesn't even matter what her personality is.
But I mean, in the beginning of the episode,
I don't even feel. I'm not even a shallow guy. No, I am a shallow guy, but I'm not that shallow. I mean, but she's just too hot to let go.
And Sasha's pretty too. So I don't know.
Sasha's hot too. But I mean, Rosita is like a whole other. She's like beyond hot. She's like pretty a goddess hot. Level of hot.
It's the Latina thing. Apparently, I don't know what type of Latina she is, but apparently there was some focus group that said Puerto Rican women are the perfect genotype women that people are all attracted to.
Well, that's you, man. So lucky you.
I'm a Puerto Rican woman. You're right. But anyway, let me get back to repeating myself. But she's absolutely gorgeous in the episode because she starts out in bed with him and she has her hair all down. She has like a shine of sweat, and I was like, oh my God, she's hot. Anyway,
we're not even reviewing the show anymore. We're just
it's just the Rosita's hot. It's just dumb shit. Anyway, so he's like, he's having weird second thoughts about it. He keeps thinking about Sasha. Like he wants to bang Sasha bad, and so she gives him, I think, a piece of a headlight from a car or something like that broke off. So she gives it to him as a chain to wear. Anyway, this all leads.
He just fucking gets rid of that thing.
In the beginning, and basically the gist of the episode, they go and they meet Gregory. He's a dickhead. He's a dickhead in the comic book too, but he's much more sleazier in the comic. He is arrogant like he is in the show.
He's really sleazy in the show.
Yeah, in the show he's like a real arrogant prick, and he's arrogant prick in the comic book too. But
he's like a slimy little asshole.
I think what confused me is that he's fatter in the comic book. They actually made him thinner, so and that's probably why I think he's sleazy for some reason in the comic book.
Oh, okay.
So Jesus brings them, and then 3 people from their community come back, and they're sent there by the saviors to assassinate Gregory, which they stab Gregory.
Which is in return for one of their hostages.
Yeah, the brother of the guy that actually gets killed by Rick. And then, meanwhile, Abraham is getting choked out, and he starts, like, I forgot who he was talking to. He said that there was a character that I guess almost died and saw his wife before he died. So I think Abraham was having that situation where his eyes were opening to like not leave his life to chance.
Yeah, but what are they going for? Abraham is a secondary character. Why are they trying to give him such a role?
That's what I told you. There's something big that happens in the comic with him that I'm like, are they gonna do that? Like, are they gonna just are they making him bigger than they should?
You tell me after the episode, after we're done.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, he's almost choked out, and he's like smiling because he doesn't have a care in the world. It's like before he's suicidal, and now he's a little bit more. Now he's a dickhead, basically.
He needs to cut off his mustache.
He needs to cut that horrible haircut. I don't know what that haircut looks so stupid. It's exactly how he looks in the comic, but it doesn't look good in real life. It's like Guile from Street Fighter, like. Can't do that haircut in real life.
He looks like a real person. I mean, I've seen people who look like him. Like, my dad used to have friends that looked like him. So
Big redhead guy.
he's just like a scary biker construction type of guy. Like I've known a lot of people like that in my life.
Your father was like in a biker gang too, I bet, right? He was just like...
Nah, he wasn't, but he associated with people like that. And he looked like it, too.
Father used to beat store owners and make them pay rent. Anyway, so basically that all leads to a big deal with everybody saying... I like how they beat the shit out of everybody. That one, she punches out Rick, and then Mishana's like, I'll fuck you up, if you keep trying to hit up my man and stuff like that.
Yeah. She should have taken off a finger with her sword.
That's what I thought. I thought she was going to scalp that woman or something. But basically the whole ending is that they decide to have a trade agreement with them by killing off the saviors. This shows how Maggie's a bigger... they're setting Maggie up for how she is in the comic book, because in the comic book she has a pretty big role in the comic book. And so far she's kind of been in the background, because you know what they do with her and Glenn. It's always like, they make pretty faces.
Maggie so much. So.
Yeah, Maggie's great, but Maggie's sort of... I haven't really had any feelings for Maggie so far in the show, besides being pretty. Lauren Conrad's pretty.
Well, she's Glenn's. She's Glenn's
very
wife,
sexist.
So right there, she's important. But I mean,
Glenn is Glenn too is like
sure.
Glenn 2 is just sort of like, I'm sort of, I don't care about these characters that much as I do.
Well, when they stopped being a big deal is when Herschel died, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, they're secondary characters now, because Glenn was like a main character from the first episode almost.
Yeah. Anyway, so now they get into a deal where they'll take care of the saviors if they can get half of the supplies, because they really don't have anything to trade with these people other than armed reinforcement, So that's where the episode ends off, where they drive off into the sunset. So this leads to tonight's episode. This is the 6th of March, 2016, which is...
You know the name.
That's right. No Way Out. That's not it, is it? No, it was not Tomorrow Yet. That's the name of the episode. See how classy we are?
Future.
As Carol faces her demons, Alexandria and the Hilltop join forces in the upcoming battle against the Saviors. So this episode is basically the Sicario episode, or if any other of those sort of Black Hawk Down action episodes. I
like the way it started off. It was pretty funny.
Yeah, it's basically this sort of... how did it start out, Danny?
With Carol making cookies and killing a walker and then giving cookies away to people. It's just like... I guess this is like Donna Reed life in, post-apocalyptic world or something.
Yeah, it was a pretty gnarly-looking zombie in the beginning of the episode. I like the makeup for that zombie. But basically, it's Carol starting out, and then Carol's giving everybody... I forget what kind of cookie she made. It sounded like a really gnarly, awful...
Beets and acorn.
Beets and acorn.
Which just sounds horrible.
I keep forgetting that acorns, you can actually eat them, because squirrels eat them, so I assume people can eat them if you
I feel like it would just give you, like, horrible constipation or something.
You shit out of your ears, orange. But, yes, this episode is basically Rick and crew. Basically, all the heavy hitters of Rick's crew go to take care of business. And they go over to an area where the people were expecting to have Gregory's head. They deliver some, I guess, a head of somebody that got killed recently.
I enjoyed when they were killing the zombies and sizing up the heads to see if it looked like him and stuff.
Yeah, so Jesus and them... Oh, not Jesus. It was Glenn and the guy with the braids. I keep forgetting his fucking name.
Not Reese. Oh, what the hell is it?
Whatever his name is. Anyway, the guy with the braids. He's cool in the comic too, but I think he's only cool in the comic because he looks different from every other character. Because in the comic book, everybody looks the same. He was the only character that literally looked different from everybody else because of the haircut.
That is like a part of why the comic books confuse me so much, because like there's
the
so
art
many
is very...
characters. Every character dies in like every episode. Like somebody dies in like every issue, and there's like 100-something issues. So it's so hard to keep track. Like I can't even remember half of them, and they all look kind of similar. So yeah, I don't know.
Well, anyway, those two characters are going off and they're trying to cut heads off. So they end up coming up to this compound that has a huge satellite on it, where they find two guys that are some of the worst actors I've ever seen. Actually, the big guy was a bad actor. The other guy was all right. Oh. That leads them into the crew coming in and taking care of business and like just slaughtering everybody in the room.
Yeah, I love that. And it's like... So, it's out of my depth with the comics at this point, pretty much. So it's like, I don't understand how... I mean, he must have a lot more guys, because I know he's going to be like a main character. but they just killed like fucking 50 people. So how many guys does that does Negan actually have?
And I think Glenn has killed his first living person. I guess they brought that up on Talking Dead before I listened to the episode. So that's why he looked all sad about it. Abraham dumps Rosita at the beginning of the episode, so Rosita's obviously pissed off. She's kind of taking it out on everybody else. She's talking to Carol about why they didn't bring up this idiot Morgan, saying shit or actually almost jeopardizing all their lives. And Morgan's at the meeting.
Yeah.
It's like, why even let Morgan go to the meeting? Just tell Morgan to go, dig some ditches somewhere and then have the meeting.
Carol's standing up for him now because she learned a life lesson. Killing people is bad.
It's Heath, by the way. Heath is the kid with the braided hair. That
I said Reese. I was like, I got the sound of the name kind of.
Very good, just like.
Well, Glenn spared Heath having to kill somebody. It looked like he spared him.
So also, Tara, the girlfriend of the doctor, she's pregnant in real life. So I was looking at her. Yeah, I was looking at her face. I was like, she looks like she chubbed up a little bit. I'm like, what's going on? Not that there's anything wrong with that. We were body conscious.
I didn't even notice.
Yeah, no, I remember hearing about it. There's a whole bunch of things with that. The actress who plays her in real life, there's there's a whole deal with her. She's a Scientologist.
Well, you know what? They wrote off any chance that she could say she got pregnant on the show because she's lesbian. So.
It's an immaculate conception. Imagine you see the ghost of what's his name from the first season, the one that fucked Rick's wife. He goes, "It was me, Rick, me," and he's floating in the.
What are they gonna do though? For real,
you saw what they did. When she was talking to her girlfriend in the kitchen. There was a huge plate covering her stomach. I was laughing so hard
because you were looking for it because you knew that she was pregnant. I had no idea, so I didn't even notice.
You just watch the scene again, and you see a huge plate that's in front of her belly, and she's just kind of standing there talking. I'm laughing.
Every episode is going to be like new creative ways, like in Austin Powers when they keep covering his boner in different ways,
like sausages in front of the penis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this episode, very, very violent, very gory. I hate the digital effects for blood and gunshots and shit. It's so obvious. They don't want to, keep doing takes over and over, but it's so fucking phony. The bullets and the blood. It's so like, oh god. When they stab people, the blood comes out really phony. Whatever. Yeah. Anyway, so this episode ends how?
It ends with Carol and Maggie are taken hostage, and I don't think that happens in the comic from my memory, but I don't think any of this stuff happens in the comic.
Looking at actually. You don't watch the previews for the next episode, right? Did you or no?
Yeah, I don't like to look at them. No.
Okay, so
I just saw we have a Carol and a Maggie, and then that was it.
Yeah, I won't bring it up. So I assume they're going to bring Negan in the final episode of the season. I don't think he'll be showing up, but it's these two women.
So
one of them
is the next season is going to be a Negan or Negan, however you say his name. Entire season is going to be him.
It was good to see Alicia Witt. I mean, they don't show her in this episode, but she's in the episode for the next preview. Alicia Witt was in, if anybody remembers that weird slasher movie, Urban Legends. That's what she was in. She's an actress from Urban Legends. It was this horror movie from the 90s.
Who is she in the show? Who is she in the show?
No, she's one of the two ladies that have Carol and Maggie.
Oh, you saw that in the
you see him in the trailer for the next episode.
Oh, okay.
But it's a pretty hardcore episode. I love what they did with Gabriel. Basically, how they made Gabriel cool now. Gabriel is basically a killer priest. He's not a killer priest in the comic book. He's basically still a priest that teaches people sermons and stuff like that. And now all they do is basically, I instantly thought of the character from
Pulp Fiction?
Saving Private Ryan. Did somebody do that in Pulp Fiction?
Well, Samuel L. Jackson says quotes from the Bible before he kills people.
Yeah, that's what he did in Saving Private Ryan as well. So I was just picturing, that's all they have to do now for his character. All he has to do is...
He has to say cool, Old Testament quotes before violently murdering.
That's all he has to do. He has to say, thus before, I was going to say, I knew some scripture, but I absolutely don't know any scripture. Yeah, and he has to just basically quote anything from the Bible, and that's it, and then just shoot somebody, and be like, yeah, that character's cool. It's just the most...
On the seventh day, there was light, and it was good. And then he kills them.
It's the most two-dimensional bullshit character trait. And he's like, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. And he's like, yeah! There's people dancing in the rooms and shit. I'm sure when, he did that in tonight's episode.
Eventually he starts getting, really sick with it. He'll start cutting, crosses into their heads and shit before he kills them, and like
eventually
drowning them in holy water, like he really tortures people and shit.
He throws like communion wafers to choke them to death and shit, like ninja stars.
He like slits their neck over their like family members, and he's like, the blood of Christ, like.
And eventually he runs out of stuff from the Bible, and he goes, Ecclesiastes 12:57, and then he just like shoots them in the head. He just makes shit up. Ah, boy.
He starts quoting other Bible. He starts quoting like the.
What's that? The spaghetti god? The ones that the atheists come up with? He just starts...
yeah, well, that's like the atheist one.
Yeah, right. He just says nothing for that one.
The spaghetti monster in the sky, whatever, the flying spaghetti monster, that's it.
Yeah, but this episode leads with Rick and crew indisposed, or is it repose? I don't know the word. But they're in trouble because an unseen people are telling them not to shoot them, so they obviously can see them from the woods. Because Carol was basically... This is the first time Carol was really chickening out because she sees that Maggie now. After Morgan had told see what Morgan does? Morgan fucks people up.
Morgan gets in your head and makes you think that human life has value.
Yeah, he doesn't realize he's on a TV show. But Morgan basically put into Carol's mind that she used to be a mother and about life. So then she puts that upon Maggie, which makes sense because Maggie is pregnant. She should, but I think Maggie's so afraid of losing Gwen. Yeah, she's losing Gwen Stacy from The Amazing Spider-Man. She's losing Glenn that she wouldn't do it. So I guess that gets them in trouble. So there you go. Thanks a lot, Morgan. Once again, helping save
Morgan,
the day.
You jerk! You're indirectly killing people now.
The best actor in the show has to be a dickhead in the show. Well, what do you know? I guess that's what happens.
You think Morgan's the best actor?
It is from the 2 episodes that I saw. The one when Rick meets him again, and after all that time, and they're inside that.
Yeah,
he's crazy.
Like a nut.
Yeah, that was one of the best. Like, it literally was the first time in the show where I was like, "Damn, this is like good acting, like really good acting for me," because it felt good.
I think he's a great actor. I don't know if he's.
And then his Karate Kid episode where he learns how to do karate powers and stuff like that. That was a really good acting episode for him too. So that's why I think There's nothing in the show where anybody has blown me away from their acting. Because everybody sort of has this cartoonish not that they're bad actors, but they all have this sort of cartoonish quality of acting. Not that it's
I think
not
Michonne's
bad.
actually one of the best ones in the show. And
Who?
Rick is great. I mean, Michonne. And also Rick is great also.
Yeah, I just think that they don't have enough character moments like he had. Only in 2 episodes, and I remembered it. So, I mean, for a character to only... Maybe it's because he's not on the show as much when he used to be. That I was like, oh damn, he's good. He was like a different face, so I was like, oh okay, I can see like he's a good actor. But I don't know, maybe that's just me. But what do you think's gonna happen next episode? Well, from the trailer, I pretty much know what happens. But you go ahead.
I mean, I would imagine that they're probably going to have to retreat, and they're gonna keep holding them hostage for like an episode or 2.
Yeah, they'll stretch it out. If there's 5 more episodes, they're gonna have to stretch it out for a while, and I believe they're not going to show him Negan until the final episode, because in the comic book, episode issue 100, when he comes out, that's, I believe, the first time he meets Rick. So, right. I don't know. They thought they had killed Negan, but he wasn't even in the show, so I don't know.
Yeah. Imagine they kill him and that's like the end, 1 episode done.
Yeah, listen, it was a solid episode. It was a really solid episode. I enjoyed it. So far, the season is really well put together.
I keep wondering, like, how are they going to keep up the pacing of this level of intensity? But they keep doing it, so it's good.
Yeah. So far the season, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Getting into your friends' heads and killing them because you care about life.
Yeah. I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 because I think it's almost perfect. 9 out of 10. Strange romances between Carol and that jerk guy who wanted to double-cross Rick.
Romance? Oh, that guy, right, yeah. You know what's funny?
He wanted to, like, stop
that
Rick
actor. I mix him up for that other actor that got... You remember the one that he died next to the gate because he gave a piece of paper to Michonne because he got bitten by a zombie?
Yeah.
He looks like the same fucking guy, so I couldn't tell the difference. Anyway,
you know what it is? The zombie virus has evolved. They come back perfectly fine now.
Excellent. With that, Danny, what's the final word?
Helium breath.
The Horror Deconstruction.